Me again. Quick game. I flip a coin. Heads, you win $100. Tails, you lose 100. Fair bet, right? 50-50. Same money either way. So, you in? No, of course you're not. Almost nobody is. To make you take that coin flip, I don't have to offer you 110 or 120. I have to offer you around 200. Because in your head, losing $100 hurts about twice as hard as winning 100 feels good. Same $100, double the pain. And that little glitch? That's the most expensive one I've got. It's why you hold on to dying stocks, junk you never use, and relationships you checked out of 2 years ago. Today, I confess how I use your fear of losing to make you lose even more. Here's the deal. Losing feels so bad that you'll do almost anything to avoid admitting a loss, even when admitting it is the smart move. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you 5 crimes I commit with that one feeling. Why you overprice your own junk, why you finish the movie you hate, why you ride a stock all the way down, and why you never, ever change anything. Then, like always, I'll be honest about where the science fights about this. And I'll give you 5 ways to catch me. 5 crimes. Let's go. Let's start with the engine that powers all of this. 2 psychologists, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, basically mapped this out in the 70s and 80s, and it won a Nobel Prize. They called the big idea prospect theory. But the part that matters to you is simple. Gains and losses are not weighed on the same scale. In your head, the pain of a loss is roughly 2 to 2.5 times the pleasure of the same size gain. Scientists even gave it a number, a loss aversion coefficient, of around 2.25. Think about what that means. Find $20 on the street. Nice, little buzz, gone in a minute. Lose 20 out of your pocket, you're annoyed about it for the rest of the day. Same $20, wildly different weight. And I'm the one holding the scale. And this isn't just a mood, it's physical. Put people in a brain scanner, offer them gambles, and researchers watch the brain react harder to potential losses than to equal gains. The losing signal was literally louder. There's even a wild case. A couple of people with damage to the amygdala, the brain's alarm bell, stopped showing loss aversion almost entirely. They'd take the fair coin flip like it was nothing. So this fear lives deep in the hardware, which is exactly why it's so easy for me to press. Here's the twist that makes it a crime. Avoiding a loss feels like winning. So I can get you to make terrible choices, and the whole time, you feel like you're protecting yourself. Crime number 2, the endowment effect. Watch how fast I can inflate the value of literally anything the moment it becomes yours. Classic experiment. Researchers, Kahneman, Knecht, and Thaler, hand out plain coffee mugs to half the people in a room. Just cheap mugs. Then they let people trade. The ones who got a mug can sell it, the ones without can buy. Logically, the price should meet somewhere in the middle. It doesn't. The sellers, who got their mug literally 2 minutes ago, wanted about twice as much money to give it up as the buyers were willing to pay. Roughly $5 to sell versus a bit over $2 to buy. Same mug. The only thing that changed was the word mine. That's it. That's the whole trick. Owning something, even for 2 minutes, makes giving it up feel like a loss. And losses hurt double, so you demand double. Now watch this everywhere. That jacket you never wear, but you couldn't sell it for that little. Your car at trade-in, the dealer's offer feels insulting because to you it's worth what it's worth to you. Free trials that turn into, well, it's basically mine now. Companies love this one. Let you hold the product, sit in the new car, keep the puppy for the weekend. Because the second it feels like yours, giving it back feels like losing. And you'll pay real money to avoid that feeling. Crime 3, and this one you'll feel in your gut. The sunk cost fallacy. It's when I use money you've already spent, money you can never get back, to trap you into wasting even more. Researchers Gal Rucker and Catherine Bloomer ran a great one. A theater sold season tickets, but secretly, at random, they gave some buyers a discount. Some paid full price, some got a couple of dollars off, some got a big discount. Exact same seats, exact same shows. Now, who do you think actually showed up to the plays? The people who paid full price went to significantly more shows, especially early in the season. Not because they liked theater more, because they'd spent more, and skipping a show would mean wasting that money. The bigger the sunk cost, the harder I make you force yourself to use it. And here's the thing your brain refuses to accept. That money is already gone. It's gone whether you go to the play or stay home. The ticket price should have zero influence on whether tonight is worth leaving the house. But it doesn't feel that way. because bailing feels like locking in a loss. This is the voice that says, I'm 40 minutes into this awful movie, might as well finish it. I already paid for the gym, I have to keep the membership. We've been together 6 years, I can't walk away now. The project's a disaster, but we've sunk 2 years into it. Every one of those is me, whispering that quitting equals losing. But you can't lose what's already spent. The only real question is ever, from right now, is this worth my time, my money, my life? The past is a receipt, not a reason. Crime 4. Let's talk money. Real money in the stock market. This one's called the disposition effect. You sell your winners way too early, and you cling to your losers way too long. Exactly backwards from what makes you money. A researcher named Terrence Odean got the trading records of thousands of real brokerage accounts, around 10,000 of them, and just watched what people actually did. The result was brutally clear. When a stock went up, people rushed to sell and lock in the win. When a stock went down, they held on, waiting for it to come back. Put in numbers, investors were roughly 50% more likely to sell a winner than a loser. And it wasn't smart. The winners they dumped often kept rising, and the losers they married often kept sinking. Why do it? Because selling a loser means signing the paperwork on a loss. As long as you hold, it's just a paper loss. Not real yet, still might come back. Selling makes it real. And real losses hurt double. So you'd rather bleed slowly than admit it once. And it's not just stocks. It's the crypto you're not selling until it comes back. The rental property that's bleeding you every month. The side business that's been about to turn around for 3 years. Holding a loser feels safer than selling it, because holding keeps the loss theoretical. I keep you comfortable and broke. Crime 5. My laziest, most profitable one. Status quo bias. Any change looks like a potential loss, so I keep you frozen exactly where you are, forever. The cleanest proof is in defaults, whatever option is pre-selected for you. Look at organ donation. In some countries you have to opt in. Check a box to become a donor. In others you're in by default and have to opt out. Same kind of people, next-door neighbors sometimes. In the opt-in countries, donor rates can sit down around 15%. In the opt-out countries, often up above 90%. Nobody's more generous. The only difference is which choice required an action. Because doing nothing, keeping the default, always feels safest. Same story with retirement savings. When companies made their savings plan something you had to sign up for, tons of people never got around to it. When they flipped it so you were enrolled automatically and had to actively quit, participation jumped from around half of employees to the high 80s. Same people, same money. Just which way the default pointed. And the version that fills your closet, you can't throw anything away. Because tossing something out is the moment the loss becomes final. As long as it sits in the garage, you still have it. The clothes that don't fit, the cables for devices you don't own, the gift from someone you don't even like. Keeping it costs you space, rent, sanity. But throwing it out costs you a feeling, and I've made that feeling more expensive than the rent. Okay, time to be honest, because I always am. Loss aversion is famous. It might be the most famous idea in all of behavioral economics, which is exactly why some scientists have started poking it hard. A few years back, 2 researchers, Gal and Gal Rucker, published a paper with a spicy title, The Loss of Loss Aversion. Their argument, the effect has been oversold. That in a lot of careful studies, losses don't actually loom twice as large. Sometimes they barely loom larger at all. That whether you see loss aversion depends heavily on the situation, the size of the stakes, how the question's framed. For tiny amounts, it can vanish. Their point isn't that you never fear losing. It's that losses always hurt more. Got treated like a law of physics when it's more like a tendency that shows up strongly sometimes and weakly other times. Defenders push back hard. Decades of data, they say, don't just evaporate. And honestly, they're probably both partly right, which again is worse for you. It means loss aversion is real enough to run your life, but slippery enough that you can't always predict when it'll grab you. So don't take my word for the exact number. Take the pattern and watch yourself. All right, confession's over. Here's how you take the scale out of my hands. 5 moves. 1. The stranger test. Ask, if I didn't already own this, would I buy it today, at today's price? If the answer's no, you don't own a treasure. You own a loss you haven't admitted yet. This one kills the endowment effect and the closet clutter in one shot. 2. The money's already gone. For anything you've sunk time or cash into, say it out loud. That's spent. It's gone either way. Then decide only on what happens from right now. The receipt is not a reason. 3. Set the exit before you're in. Decide your "I'm out" point in advance. The price, the date, the deal breaker, while you're calm, before the fear of locking in a loss can grab you. Rules written in daylight beat feelings made in the dark. 4. Zoom out to the whole picture. Stop staring at this one gain or this one loss. Ask what it does to your total life, your total money. A single loss is tiny against the whole. I shrink your view to one number so it feels huge. 5. Flip the default. If doing nothing is my favorite trap, make the good choice the automatic one. Auto-transfer the savings. Auto-cancel the thing. Make your future self opt out of the smart move instead of opt in. Do those and losing stops being a monster under the bed. It goes back to being what it actually is, just information. So there it is. I'm not scared of you losing money. I'm scared of you admitting it. Because the second you do, the spell breaks. That's the whole con. I turn one small, honest loss into a lifetime of bigger, quiet ones. And I make it feel like caution. But hey, at least loss aversion needs you to already own something. Next time, I go to work before you own anything at all. I'll show you how 3 little words, only 2 left, can switch off your brain completely. Why a ticking clock and a low stock warning make you buy things you'd walk right past any other day. It's called scarcity, and I'm about to make you very afraid of missing out. Subscribe so you don't lose the next one.